Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to IFYL. I know, good morning. It is actually Monday. It's been a little bit of a crazy day, and I was actually helping a neighbor out with something that took a little bit longer than expected. But I'm here, and I always promise to get these out to you before I get to sleep. So, good morning, I'll say to you guys. Good evening to those of you that are on the West Coast. We have a great show tonight, but I want to thank you for taking time to connect with me and to check out my other great content by visiting the QR code at the top of the screen. Just grab your phone, launch your camera app, point over that QR code just like so, touch the yellow lips. You'll get my link tree just like that. And you'll be able to become a better version of yourself. I just want to thank you for coming back and watching us again. Really appreciate you. And I want to thank those that are watching us on the replays, 1 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 a.m., 4 p.m., 12 midnight, 12 noon, whenever you watch. Really, I'm grateful for you guys being here. So we start on a Saturday, we roll the way through the week, and we end up on a Friday with our master topic. Let's get right into the master topic, shall we? Great. Here it is. How to take criticism. Series 2 means we're in year 2. Show 9, and we are in episode number 2. Remember, we always have 7 episodes in one particular week, and so that's what we're doing here. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think the most important thing for a lot of people is that they don't quite get what we mean by criticism. Now, what do I mean by that? So, when we think about a criticism, I think it's about a lot more than just hearing something. All right. What is it? Well, to be honest with you, it starts somewhere very important. You know where it starts? It starts before you even hire somebody. Now, what do you mean it starts before you hire someone? All right. So, one place where this happens a lot is when HR hasn't done their job properly. Okay. But if it's part of your company's plan, then you're definitely able to, how can I say, make this part of what you do and hopefully mitigate any kind of issues that might happen. All right. That's really the main thing. And so if we're thinking about people in your company. So, you have them sign things like, sexual harassment forms and, you know, how to use the internet, like internet usage and phone policy documents, right? Sometimes you have to have them sign a type of document if they receive any type of collateral, like laptop, PC, any type of maybe access cards, things of that nature. And this seems to be pretty much a standard thing that you would do. However, what I want to share with you is that a lot of people don't make the choice to make this part of their policy. All right. So what I typically do, because I interview a lot of people, is I will have somebody, and let's just take, for example, somebody's coming in, and this is in the interview process. I do this now, not in the actual hiring process. All right. So you want to do things there too. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the interview process. So what you really want to do is ask them a question. Okay. And the question is going to be about criticism. Okay. And here's how you would do this. You'd say the person, let's say you're talking with them and say, let's say the person's Joe or Mike. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for taking time with me to interview. It's great to meet you. And I want to say to you that we're looking for high quality candidates, which we're making sure that we get those. So we are, crossing our T's and dotting our I's a little more than a lot of companies normally would be doing in our industry, because to us, our people are the company. And so I have a question for you. Let's say you're working on a project. All right, we can get specific or not specific; it doesn't matter. And let's say you're working on this project, all right, and you're working on it for a long time. The first thing I usually ask people is, if the project's due on Friday at 10 a.m. and you hand it in at 10 a.m. on Friday, are you late? And they'll usually say to me, well, John, technically I'm not late, but I really am late because, we have to account for the fact that other people may have to make changes or we need to hear things. Another question I usually ask interview session people is I say, look, um, how do you feel about receiving, or say something like, um, how important is it for you to receive and give feedback in your job? And if someone says to me, "Oh, I'm not really much into feedback," once in a while is okay, but I'm not really much into giving or getting it. Oh, okay. And then I politely just say, "Okay, that's great." I might ask another question too, so they know that they didn't, tip me off. And I would say, maybe a couple other questions I'd ask them like, "Oh, well, that's great. Listen, I thank you so much for your time, and we'll be getting back to you in about a week or two once we've had a chance to finish interviewing all the other candidates, and we'll let you know if you're selected." Okay, great. Thanks so much for your time. Now, I've already crossed that person off my list and said, "Look, they are not going to be a person that we're going to hire. That's just like a done deal." And you might be saying to me, "John, why?" Well, because you already know that they failed your test. See, whenever you set up a test for someone, you got to make sure that if you test someone and they fail, you're willing to let them go. That's really important. You don't want to make them just kowtow in. Okay. Oh, we've got these stupid people here trying to send out all kinds of I'll call it X-rated crap. Every once in a while, we don't see them. I guess they just, I don't know. I think either they're a bot. They're probably a bot that just run a script, but I just have to laugh at these people because they're so pathetic. They send like 10 or 12 messages about going to check out some X-rated content. And it's really of no interest to me. I really want to help people become a better version of themselves. There's always time for that, right? For other people, but we want to help you build your life because anybody can just tell you to go to an X-rated site. That's not going to help you become better. All right. So then what I do, if somebody that I'm interviewing and they give me an answer like, well, John, I'm really interested in this position. And I have to tell you, I would welcome feedback as much as possible. And I'd hope that you would want to hear my feedback as well. So now you've asked some great questions. Now you know this person's probably good for the position. Ask a few more to finish the qualification process. But then I go and I ask another question. Joe, I'm glad to hear that you like to receive feedback and give feedback. I think that makes us all to be a very viable team and grow the company. I want to know what the difference is between feedback and constructive feedback. Do you know the difference? If they say no, I ask them what kind of feedback would they like. I don't discredit them right away because maybe they don't know. And so they might tell me, well, typical feedback is, just do this better. And that's all you want? Yeah, that's all. And I'll just tell you to do this better. So I'll say something like, okay, that's great. And I won't say any more. If they go a little further and they say, John, well, I'm glad you asked me that question. I'm really interested in receiving and giving constructive feedback because I think it's important that when I give the feedback and the criticism that it's taken in a manner that is constructive and people know that it's not personal. It's just something I want to do to help that person get better. And I know when people tell me that my work needs to improve, it's not personal. It's that they want me to get better. You got somebody like that? Make a mental note that you want that person on your team if they check off all the other boxes. But some people will say to you, "Oh, I don't really care." So you have to pay attention to this. Then what I do, ladies and gentlemen, is I create a scenario, right? And I might say, "Hey, Joe, so I got a scenario for you. You've been hired to be a member of our tech support team at the IT company. And you were just sent out to do an upgrade on a server that was at this law office. You have a very detailed SOP, standard operating procedure that you need to follow. If there's any problems or questions, obviously reach out to us. Um, if there's something that we need to clarify with the customer, we can do that. If it's a simple question, you want to ask them something about their team, you can do that. But if it's something more specific about the technology, reach out to us. Okay. So now you've done the job, okay, and you come back to us. And so a couple days later, I receive a phone call from the director of the company telling me they're very unhappy with the installation, that it wasn't finished. So now I reach out to you. I don't say anything to you in front of your peers or call out. I just say, "Hey, Joe, do you have a minute? Could you come to my office?" "Sure." To my office and say, "Joe, I just wanted to say thank you to you for all the hard work you're putting in, the dedication, and for getting Langing and Lango law firm done ahead of schedule. That was really good. Kudos to you." "Oh, well, you're welcome, John." And we received a call yesterday from the manager of the firm, and they said that you didn't um, finish the installation. And you might be like, "Well, what do you mean I didn't finish the installation?" "Well, they claim you didn't finish the installation. Did you follow the SOP?" "Absolutely. I checked everything off I was doing." "You checked everything off?" "Yes." Were there any problems that came up on the site?" "Not really. The only issue we had was that a lot of people were working. And, one of the things we asked people to do is if they could please log out of all the network applications." And did they do that? Well, many of them did, but there were a few people that would not log out of the applications. So I did reach out to the manager and I said, we can't complete the installation if the network applications are still up. He said, "Don't worry about it." He says, "You'll be fine. Just retry and you'll be fine. Just do it anyway. We do it all the time." So I did what he told me. I got everything done. When I had the errors, I retried. They copied over fine. And he said everything was great. So a couple days later, I just learned from you that they called you, and I guess they said that things were installed right. What wasn't installed right? They said you didn't finish, and I got specific with them about what things they didn't finish. And I said the only way that could have probably happened is by the dependencies not getting updated, even though it said it was updating it. Thank you so much, Ken. Yes, I've been nursing my voice pretty well. I didn't do a lot of talking today. I had a nice cup of hot tea, which was good at the morning, and another one before. And I tried this very interesting technique, Ken, and it works. If you figure out where the raspiness is in your throat, little side note here. So let's say the raspiness is right here in my throat. I would basically take my fingers and kind of draw a line to the back of my neck to where that is. And I would push right in just a little bit hard, not too hard. And I do that for about 2 minutes. And what that would do is it would cause a stimulation and that would actually help. I also did something interesting today because I was with the cast members and I said, I said, we got to have mics that are working. And I said, I really don't want to scream that loud because that wasn't good for my voice. And not one person said, "Hey, John, you really shouldn't be doing that because it's going to hurt your voice." Not one person on the entire cast said, "John, you got to save your voice." Nobody even cared. So I do want to thank you, Ken, for caring and for asking me to end the show early. So I do want to wrap up tonight, but I want to say this. I want to say that when this happened with this guy, and, I went over everything and he says, "Yeah, I did everything." I guess when the dependencies updated, even though it told me everything updated, I presumed everything was working fine. I checked with a few people. I didn't check with all 30 of them, but I checked with a couple, like maybe one from each department, but I didn't check each computer. And one of the SOPs was to check every computer or at least have the entire staff check. Did you do that? Well, I reached out to the manager before I left and I said, "I'm getting ready to leave. Is everything okay?" He said, "Give me a minute. I just, while you pack up, I'm going to check with everyone and just make sure everything's okay. I'm going to send an email or a message to everyone and ask them if everything is okay." And so he did that. I waited about 10 or 15 minutes, got back and said, "Is everything okay?" And he says, "Yeah, everything's fine. You can go. You can go." Okay. And I left. I can see. So in the future, I can see why that might have happened. And I also understand that the customer told you that it was okay to do it that way. In the future, if we have an SOP and a customer tells you to deviate from the SOP, even if they think it's fine, don't do it. Because if you do, we're going to run into a problem like this. Does that make sense? Yes, I am really sorry. Um, I'm really careful about everything I do. I'm sorry. I just thought I was doing it correct. I understand. It's not your fault. So again, just next time, just make sure that you follow it. If you have a problem, call us and we could tell you whether you can skip a stage in the SOP if there's something going on, or we can help intervene with something. That's cool. Great. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time. No, John, I appreciate you giving me the feedback. I definitely want to do the best I can for the company. So, but if what if he came back and said to me, "Well, I did everything on the SOP. Okay. Well, what about the updating of the dependencies at the end?" Oh, well, everybody was kind of busy and I really didn't have time. So I left and I told him he probably have to call us back to finish it. Well, the customer was not very happy with that. Did he tell you could leave? Well, he didn't say I could leave, but he says, yeah, that's okay. He says, we'll just get you back another time. What did you say to him? I said, well, I can't finish the updates because the people are still logged in and, we're going to need to do this another time. Um, and so is that person in trouble with you? Probably no, because he did even more and he documented that it didn't work. Okay. But the thing that was wrong is he didn't tell us that. So he said, hey, look, I know you did all that and you did all that great stuff. It's just we probably should be notified. This way we could have been more proactive and sent you out or someone else like the next day. That's a good idea. I'll definitely do that. Now, what if somebody was really blunt and like you asked them, hey, I had this problem. Did you set up the printer? I did set up the printer. Everything was great. Did you test it? I think so. Did you print out a configuration page? I had it somewhere. It's probably on my phone. I can get it to you later. "Oh, okay, no problem. Uh, did you make sure the printers were all printing?" Well, I got a couple of them printing. It took me a lot longer, and I had to get to the other job, and I really couldn't finish. But everybody was kind of working, and I just told them that I would come back, and they were all happy. Okay, so when that happens in the future, I think it's important that we get contacted so we could send you back up or do something to help with the situation. And I get that you wanted to help them. I think that was really admirable. And I know that you wanted this entire job to be done under your belt. I think that's great. And with the same token, we have to make sure the customer stays happy. If we don't keep the customer happy, then we might lose the customer. Does that make sense? So still that was handled okay, but when would be a condition we'd fire somebody? Well, in that situation where he said he couldn't find it and he was being irresponsible, or he didn't do the logs, or he didn't detail something down, I was like, so we didn't get any detail. Did you ever get the logs? Oh man, I was bummed, and then my cell phone died, and I wasn't able to connect. Did you have a charger on you? I did, man, but it was in the truck and it fell between the seats, and there was not much I could do. Did you log into the website? Maybe email us or call us on the phone? Oh man, I didn't think about that. Yeah, maybe next time. So now what I do is I write them up. George, look, I understand there were some challenges. So I want to just explain to you, just like we did when we hired you, about the process. And again, I'm going through this process as if he was hired. And so if he doesn't really take a lot of care to what's going on, I say, well, you know what? I think it's working well. We're going to write you up for this because I don't really think you did the best that you could. And I'm sure you agree with me. This happens two more times, they're terminated. You see how that works? So you can give constructive feedback, but if the person's not willing to accept the constructive feedback, you need to say goodbye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be with you this fantastic Sunday evening into the Monday wee hours of the morning. I hope you'll like, love, support the channel. Definitely tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Comment below. Share this out with everyone you know on social media. Go to my YouTube channel, John Space C Space MORLEY Space serial entrepreneur. Look for that key phrase to help keep our content free. Make the choice, ladies and gentlemen, to buy my team and I a cup of coffee, a bowl of fruit, or perhaps even maybe a savory dessert. We'll be so grateful with those pennies and dollars. We'll invest them into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping, motivational content to empower you to change your life. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I'll see you guys later tonight I hope you remember that when you do consistent, constructive feedback or consistent, constructive criticism, you'll become successful, and so will your team. And that is what I hope you'll gain from tonight's lesson. Take care, everyone, and have a great night, or a good morning, I should say.